I don't wanna leave, no, no. A beat is calling me. I don't wanna leave, no, no. Don't wanna leave.
You started out in photography doing events for families.
I did. Actually, I started out doing photography as far back as high school.
Oh, okay.
Through my college years, I was always artistic to some extent, be it painting, drawing, sculpting, but always came back to photography. Years and years, I did families, weddings, just trying to make it as a photographer.
Okay.
Then got into the whole pandemic thing. Pretty much everything shut down, as everyone knows.
Yeah.
New Orleans musicians struggled. They had nowhere to play. They had no venues to go to. They had no outlet. So in their downtime, I started contacting a few of them and said, hey, would you be interested? Every one of them said, absolutely. So we started getting together and shooting small gigs at people's houses or backyards or wherever they happened to be playing at.
Yeah.
And it's kind of escalated from there.
That's awesome, man. What was the draw for you personally? Because you sound passionate about the music scene more so than
it was music.
Family events.
It was music. Music has gotten me through so much stuff in life from the beginning. My musical background, I guess you could say, really started getting into it in high school, like most people do. Black Sabbath, hardcore punk bands. That was my roots. That's what I grew up on.
Yeah.
And I've diversified greatly since then. Sure. Just with an appreciation for good music.
Right. I think a lot of people do later on.
I do. These days I get a lot of bluegrass and Zydeco. Sure. Get into that heavy. Still going back to my metal roots all the time. That's just.
And for you in high school, I guess kind of expanding your musical horizons, so to speak, were you attending shows?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I grew up over on the Mississippi Gulf Coast.
Okay.
They had the Coliseum there. I'd spend about every other weekend out there, whatever show they were playing.
Yeah.
Got into early age, got into a lot of Kiss. Yeah, I think that's where most of us got started at.
Sure.
And saw them a few times there. But yeah, it's just the whole music arena just kind of opened up.
Now you said in high school you were taking pictures as well. So did you ever put the two together?
Never did.
Never did.
Never did. I would do a lot of wildlife photography, venues, just antique or old buildings, downtown on the coast.
Sure.
All the old houses that used to be on the.
There's a lot
on the beach there.
Yeah.
A lot of good subject matter around there.
And you managed to make a living from it, or it was a hobby?
Not then, no. Oh yeah, it was strictly a hobby then. I never really considered making a living with it. It was just something I always did. I always had a camera around and snapping pictures. My kids have told me that whenever I die, everybody's gonna know what I did, but nobody's gonna know what I look like. Yeah. Because I was always on the other side of the camera.
Sure.
So yeah, it was never really a money-making venture. It was a passion, just something I wanted to do because that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah. And did it bring you places? Did you find that you normally, I guess, wouldn't be had you not been walking around with the camera in your hand?
Absolutely. You walk around anywhere with a camera in front of you, especially as a professional photographer. Everybody says, "Hey, take a picture of me."
Yeah.
Everybody wants to look good.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to look good, and that's what I strive to do, no matter what venue or situation I'm in. My subject matter has got to look presentable. Sure. And that's my job to make them look presentable.
Yeah.
Good, bad, and ugly, whatever it turns out to be. But it's nice to see people happy and see them smile whenever they see the pictures you've taken of them.
Yeah. And what what venues or outlets have you been able to make use of to display your photography?
Oh, wow. I've got my own website, Facebook, Instagram, everybody's got that. The subjects, those are the bands that I shoot, the photographs belong to them. So I usually let them present their product first. I'm just the catalyst to get it there.
Sure.
Did a band 2-3 weeks ago at my old residence that I had. Great backgrounds for shots there. So
your old residence or your old hometown?
My old house.
Oh, okay.
We moved recently from Covington to Ponchatoula.
Okay.
The house that I was in had a band out there to shoot a setting.
Yeah.
And the pictures belong to the subject matter, whoever my client is at the time. So I do let them have possession and present it before I put it anywhere.
That's not a normal business model, is it?
It's not. I don't try to be normal. I don't want to be normal.
How does it go normally for everyone out there?
Normally, I mean, the photographer's contacted. You sign a contract. It's a formal business deal. Most photographers that I've come across, it is strictly business. This is not a business for me. This is a passion.
Never was. Right.
This is what I've always been meant to do. I hate doing the normal thing. Most photographers don't show up in a shoot dress like this either.
Sure.
I want to be part of the show. I don't want the attention drawn away from the artist that I'm there for. But I want to be part of that experience.
Yeah.
I want that vibe to go out through the band, through me, through the audience.
Sure.
And the audience sees the pictures a week or two later and says, "Oh, I remember this. He captured that great."
Right.
And that's what I want.
Brings them back. That's cool. Have you been able to, I guess, follow the trail of new subject matter to shoot on merit of the last job?
Absolutely.
So to speak. Word of mouth is the best advertiser.
Absolutely. And I feed off of that. I want people to say, "Hey, you need a photographer, look this guy up." I was at a show 2-3 months ago, shooting the first band in the lineup. Wasn't able to stick around for the last band, but the last band saw the pictures I took of the first band and said, "Hey, can you do this for us too?"
Yeah.
And I was, "Man, I'd be more than glad to." And I've done so much work with them since then, and continue to work with them.
Yeah.
Word of mouth is everything. You can do as much advertising or anything else that you can make advertising look great, but the product that you produce has got to look better.
Sure.
You know, these people, these are professionals that you're working with, and they expect professional results. And I try to provide that every time.
Yeah, I've seen some of your work, and I think it's important to have both mediums. Even if, let's say, the subject's at a video shoot, it's still important to have still photography because of what you can achieve. Because I've seen some of your work, and I mean, obviously, that wasn't going to come from a still from a video.
Thank you.
It can't, you
Right.
know. So it provides a different perspective. And I know that you caught a shot of me and sent me that, and I had no idea that I had been photographed. And you said that's something that you do intentionally.
I love doing that. And as I told you earlier, I try not to call it candid shots because it's not. It's a photograph of the person in their natural environment, being who they are every day. I don't like posed photography. I don't like fake settings. I like to catch you for who you are.
So you're the antithesis of the wedding photographer.
Absolutely.
Okay.
The wedding photography thing never really interested me. It's too much of a setting. It's too posed. It's too
Everything
polished.
you just said that you did not like.
I like it raw.
Yeah.
You know, as real as I can possibly get it.
How did it pan out, though? I mean, all things considered, being a wedding photographer, was it a little bit more of a cush job, or, I mean, did it at least pay for your gear?
Oh yeah, it definitely did that. But I personally didn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's the work is definitely there, but again, I do this for passion. I don't necessarily do it
Sure.
for a paycheck.
Sure. Well, that's great, man. I think that it's so much more fulfilling to be in your own skin, so to speak, when it comes to what you pursue. Not have to, wear this suit or this facade, you know what I'm saying, to move amongst these people. So you go to the show and your subject matter's there in all their glory.
Oh, yeah.
Loud as can be.
Absolutely.
And spotlight on them. That's fantastic.
It's my job to make them look good.
Yeah. Have you been kind of, I guess, sticking to any certain genres or locations, or have you been able to find yourself in different genres and different
Absolutely.
locations?
Whenever I first got into this, quite a few of the Zydeco bands out in Lafayette, started doing a lot of work with them. Started working with one. Somebody else would see my work with them and contact me to do work with themselves. And that just snowballed. I think one of the biggest ones that I've really worked with is Grammy nominee Corey Leday, Zydeco accordionist from Lafayette. And hell of a player, great musician, great guy to work with. But yeah, I mean, Zydeco, heavy metal, rock, good southern rock.
Yeah.
I get into all of it.
Yeah.
It's the genres has definitely expanded as far as the photography realm.
Yeah, I don't picture it as no pun intended. I don't picture it as something restrictive. Honestly, I think as long as there's a festive event and color, you're gonna get that shot. Are there any genres that you hope to move towards next, just to kind of spice it up a little bit?
Kind of expand it out a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm really open to anything. I mean, as long as it's good, talented music, I'm all about it. No matter what genre of music you get into or you enjoy or you're talented at playing,
Yeah.
it takes so much talent to get up and perform in front of people like that.
Oh, I agree.
And I envy that.
Sure.
I've strived for years to be a musician.
Yeah.
And I'm absolutely horrible at it.
Yeah, well.
I don't mind telling people that, I'm good at some things, not so good at others, but
Yeah.
I've struggled for years to be a musician. And the photography kind of keeps me in front of it.
Sure.
Keeps me on stage with it. Keeps me, that spotlight
Sure.
that I don't have any other way.
I guess so. In essence, you're capturing the spirit of these people.
Absolutely.
I guess at the best.
To be able to freeze that moment in time,
Sure.
it's great. It's a great feeling.
I know zip about photography on the technical side, so I wanted to make the contrast and ask how you deal with it. Obviously, at night in a bar, it's a low light setting with glaring lights on the stage, and then maybe some festivals during the day, like are so popular in Louisiana.
Right.
It's a completely different photographic atmosphere.
It is.
How do you deal with such starch?
It is called
Contrast.
technology.
Technology.
The new cameras that are out today are absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
The biggest adjustment is going to be what's called the ISO speed, which is the film speed. Back in the day, whenever we had film cameras, you had up to 36 pictures on one roll of one ISO setting, which is the amount of light that the film allows you to develop into it. That has expanded digitally from about 1,600 to about 52,000.
Yeah.
So I can go into a dark club and take a picture, a photograph of you, and make it look like we're sitting in a bright room.
Okay.
It's great. Especially the stage lighting they have now. Most all of the LEDs, they're so vibrant. That shows on the artist's face whenever you're trying to capture that.
Okay, for the people out there, unlike myself, that are familiar with the tech side of photography, can you go over some of the equipment specifically that you're using, that you like to use?
Right now I'm strictly going mirrorless. It's still a DSLR camera. The old technology is you had a shutter that would raise and lower every time you hit the shutter button.
Sure.
That would capture the amount of light and the picture you're trying to accomplish. Now the newer technology that's out there are mirrorless cameras. There's no shutter in there. There's no lag. Used to, you'd focus in on your subject. You'd have to take the picture, look down, say, yeah, this looks good. I need to make an adjustment here. Get up, and take another picture. Everything you see now is through the lens. All the adjustments that you make is through the lens. What you see is what you get, basically.
Yeah.
And then, you obviously have to go back and hopefully do minimal editing.
That was going to be my next question.
To get the effect that you want.
That I am somewhat familiar with, at least on the videography side. So
it's the same for photography.
Yeah.
I'm just working on one frame.
Yeah. Do you have a preference when it comes to programming that you use to run it through?
Photoshop and Lightroom.
Yeah.
Industry standards.
Yeah.
I try not to do very little editing on my pictures. Again, I like as raw as I can get. I may sharpen it up, change colors a little bit, but pretty much what you see is what you get.
So you do minimal editing because you want it to be, I guess, true to form?
I want it to be what I took.
Yeah.
And I will do some extreme color changes and stuff just to get an effect out of a picture for a band.
Okay.
But as far as like stage lighting and everything, it's set the way it is.
Yeah.
You get the blues on the one side, the reds on the other, and just that effect, you can't change that a whole lot. I don't want to change that a whole lot.
Sure.
Okay, it just looks good the way it is.
Yeah. When you're in a bar at night, and because even that one setting in itself is a big contrast between the lower lit areas where the crowd is and what's on stage, which has got watts and watts of light shining directly at you.
Yep.
And so, I mean, technology's kind of smoothing that out for you.
It is. I mean, with one finger, I can change from a stage setting to an audience setting in a second. It's great. And without guessing what you're doing, it's the knowledge still has to be there as far as the effect you're trying to get out of the picture or what you're trying to make it look like. But as far as being able to do that easier, I've still got my old professional cameras that I've had for years that I'll go back to them every now and then, especially in bright sunshiny days like this.
Yeah.
Just to get good outdoor pictures. But for stage settings, bars, venues, you can't beat the DSLR.
Yeah. What do you have a preference between outdoor festivals, indoor, at night?
Not really.
No.
I like them all.
Yeah.
Different effects for different shots, but I guess if I had to pick one, I would say probably the bar.
Yeah.
And not like a concert venue like the Superdome or anything like that, but
an intimate setting.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
A smaller place with 200-300 people in it. You can't beat that. You're right there with the band. You're up close.
Yeah.
You can't get more intimate than that.
Yeah, I think that's special. I like that. You kind of touched on it in the beginning, but didn't really say where has your work been featured before? And I asked the question in a different way, so that's probably why it came out like that.
Offbeat Magazine. Done quite an extensive amount of work with them. Some of the other local band websites. I've got a lot of my pictures on them. I don't really like to put it out there until they do.
Sure.
I get a lot of photo credits on their websites from it. But again, my work belongs to them once it's released from me. So until you see it and you see it on there, that's where it's at.
So mysterious and secretive, sir. Well, that's cool, man. I appreciate it. Unless you got anything else to add, I think we can.
Man, that's just it. It's just after the whole everybody coming back from the stuff that was out there.
Yeah.
It's great to see music returning.
It is.
It's good to see live music. I never really realized how much I missed live music until it wasn't there.
You're not kidding.
And one of the first groups that I shot was a very small restaurant setting. They were outside playing. It was their first time playing live back from everything being shut down.
Yeah.
It was a duet, husband and wife playing. I was doing pictures. They finished their first set. Everybody stood up and started applauding. This woman started crying. Just because the sound of the applause after 2 years of not hearing anything.
Wow.
You know, and being there to capture that on film
Yeah.
or in pictures, that's what turned me on to all this. It's just capturing that emotion that music can bring out in people.
Sure.
And that's the only reason we listen to it. Music makes us feel a certain way.
Yeah.
You know, no matter what type of music you listen to. And to be able to capture that for somebody to look at later,
Sure.
that's what I'm all about.
It counts for something. That's great, man. Thank you.
Cool.